Sorry. So, when you're here in the classroom, you have a special place where you can work. Look at this girl. What does she have? She has a special place. She has a rug to work on. I'm not sure if you can see very well in this picture, but here there's a boy who's working with a story and he's sitting on a rug. He has a rug that's just the right size for him. And if you need a space, to work, you can make a space too. See how I found a space for me? See how I unrolled the rug? Watch. I have space inside the rug. I've got plenty of room to work, whether I'm working with artwork or with a story. When you're on your rug, no one will bother you. When you're on your rug, you have a space for you, and everyone can see which space is for them and which space is for you. I'll show you how you can walk around the rug if someone else is using it. I didn't step on the rug, I just stepped around the rug. Because the rug that someone else is working on is their own special space. We have plenty of rugs for everyone. And when you're finished working, you can roll up your rug and put it away all by yourself. Roll it up and put it back where it belongs, all by yourself. You don't need anyone to help you. Now I wonder if some of you can show me how you might roll out a rug to work. And then you'd give maybe 4 or 5 children the opportunity to demonstrate walking over to the bin, getting out a rug, rolling it out, sitting on it, rolling it back up, talking through feedback as they go as a model for the other students. With the older class, you might only do that with one student and have the children give feedback. But with the younger ones, give a lot of them the chance to do it. Another way that we worship is by telling some of the stories again. Sometimes we heard a story and we want to tell it again. We want to get the pieces and act them out just like our teachers did. Maybe we want to tell the story from this day. Maybe we want to tell a story from before. But these materials are very, very special and precious. They help us to understand God's story, and we should treat them very carefully and be sure that no pieces go missing, because they're hard to replace. And at this point, you are welcome to choose a story. It's really up to you which story you choose, and bring it over, take out the pieces. You might even ask the children which one they would like to work with, and as you bring it over, you would carefully take the pieces out, kind of mimic telling a story, and then you put the pieces back together. Put them back on the shelf. So you're demonstrating very deliberately and very slowly and very carefully that they're not meant to just grab a bunch of pieces from all different stories and make a huge mess and then shove them back on the shelf. You're demonstrating for them how they appropriately take a story down, work with it carefully, put it back carefully, and return it to the shelf. So it's such an important lesson. It might seem unnecessary, but if they don't know how and they haven't seen someone else do it, then they just won't know how, or won't know exactly what it should be like. So it's totally up to you which story you want to choose. You might even think about it ahead of time so that you have an idea which one you want to pull down from the shelves for this portion. Noah's Ark is always a great one because it's one that they play with a lot, and it's got just a really nice big chunky piece with a bunch of stuff inside of it, and then you can demonstrate taking everything out, playing with it a little bit, putting everything back in. So I usually use Noah's Ark. Okay, let's see. So the next thing that you'll demonstrate for them is you'll explain that once they're finished with their worship time, that there'll be a way for them to clean up and to work together to put everything back in its proper place. You haven't really talked a lot about artwork. You'll be doing that more in the next few lessons, but you might pay reference to, all the materials being put back where they belong and the teachers helping, everyone getting things back on the shelves. And then you'll demonstrate for them how to go to the table and to prepare for the feast. With the older ones, they'll come and sit on the carpet. With the younger ones, they'll kneel around the table. And you'll bring the materials over. And you might even say, let's bring these to the table so we won't forget what we've learned about. And then once they're already at the table, you can show them this picture. If you'd rather switch it up and show it to them here on the rug before they go to the table, it's kind of up to you. I know there's a lot of autonomy in this lesson because it has a lot to do with kind of the flow that you're creating during the lesson, but making sure that you touch on each of these important parts. So then you would get them to the table, make sure that they're all seated or kneeling at the table, and then you would gather them and get their attention so that you can pray. We've been practicing the doxology with most of the classes, so you might sing the doxology prayer or just have them bow their heads and share a simple prayer of blessing or thanksgiving for the feast that they're about to eat. Often I will point to the Last Supper painting, the print of the Da Vinci painting, or the icon in the other classroom, and show them that Jesus gathered with his friends, and this is just one artist's rendering of what that might have looked like. As they sit at the table, you'll explain that Jesus had a special meal with his friends, and we share a special meal with our friends. The adults go into the sanctuary and share communion together, and so we eat to remember, and we eat to acknowledge the special thing that God has done, and we remember what Christ told us and how he asks us to join together and share a meal in remembrance of him. And then you'll say, and today our feast is oranges or apples or bananas or whatever it might be. And then you'll ask for students to come and help you. The doorkeeper can assist with that, and you'll hand out the feast, all the while trying to stick with that slow and deliberate and intentional kind of cadence that you've been using during your lesson today. And you might even, it's a little redundant with the older kids, but with the younger kids, as you're handing out the feast, you can say, and now Eloise has her feast, and now Zeke has his feast, and now Sarah has her feast, and just go slowly and deliberately around, taking your time. And then as it's time to clean up, you'll demonstrate for them. You'll say, wait and watch. Look and see what I'm doing, and you'll fold up the napkin and go and put it in the trash, put the cup in the basin, and slowly and deliberately demonstrate that whole process too. And then as the students are completing their feast, you'll show them again, now it's Zeke's turn. Go and show us how it's done. Eloise, can you show how we put away our feast in the classroom sanctuary or in the worship space? Yes, and then the last part says of our lesson reminds them that they don't need someone to tell them what to do, that they have seen how they walk and talk and work in the classroom sanctuary, and so they won't need a reminder, but there will be a different teacher for them, or it might be the same teacher. And you'll say the same rules apply, and this is an opportunity for you, again, when you return, to show that you know what it means to be in a classroom sanctuary, whether you're getting out a rug or putting away materials or working with a story, sitting quietly and sitting crisscross in a circle. These are the ways that we always behave in the classroom sanctuary, or in the worship space, you might call it. So yeah, you'll kind of summarize the things you've talked about, and as they leave, either the doorkeeper or the teacher will maybe give them a hug, give them a blessing, send them on their way, so that they leave the classroom with a word of blessing, and that's about it. So this is kind of a strange video to film just because it's not really a lesson. It's more about orientation, but I hope it was helpful, and I'll look forward to serving with you soon. Thanks. Hi. I forgot to mention too that during that lull between feast and when all the parents come, as opposed to letting them begin working on artwork or something else, there are a couple of books, God's Paintbrush and Old Turtle, which really kind of serve as an introduction to a lot of questions and insights that they might be beginning to enjoy here as they've moved up from the younger class. So I would gather them and read one of these stories as opposed to kind of letting them break up and work on different things. So here are those books, and they'll be available here for the conclusion of the lesson before all the parents come, because they come at different times. So, all right, thanks.